Listen, there is some truth to that. There's no doubt about it. I wanted to ask you about Phil Foden. He's had a lot of criticism in the last few days after that England performance. A lot of people calling saying that he should be dropped. Do you boys agree? Should he be out of the England starting 11 for the next game?
He's our best player. Why would we drop our best player? Like, he's the best English player we have right now. So why would we be dropping him? It's crazy. What we just need Southgate to do is just play the players in the proper positions. Do you know what I mean? He's trying to force people in the squad, right? Because you've got, for me, 3 generational talents in that team. Trent Alexander-Arnold, yeah, Jude Bellingham, and Phil Foden. They are 3 generational talents. The problem that we have is he doesn't trust Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back in a defensive capacity. Clearly doesn't. Otherwise, he'd be playing him there. So what he's doing is he's going, well, he's generational, so I have to force him in. So where should I put him? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put him next to Rice. But that doesn't work, man. I don't think Trent is good enough in that midfield position. He's not good enough with his back to goal, as we've seen when we almost conceded a goal when he lost it on the edge of the penalty area. And it's just a fundamental different position. You know what I mean? It's just not that simple. Oh, just put him in midfield. No, he's a right back. That's why he plays right back. You know what I mean? I know he inverts a lot, but maybe for Liverpool, you know what I mean? And he comes in off that right and inverts into the middle. But do you not think if he was good enough and just like that was a good enough position to play there, Klopp would have just started playing him in midfield and just having another right back? Do you not think one of the greatest managers we've seen in this country would have done that? No, he's not done that because he knew that there was other aspects to his game maybe that he couldn't, and it was better to invert from that position. And by the way, if you want him to do that, invert from right back into midfield, I ain't necessarily got a problem with that, but you can't just start him in a 2-man with Declan Rice and Trent. So what he should be doing, if he really wants to go down this route, and I think you have to, is just play Trent at right back, play Declan Rice, play Jude Bellingham as the box-to-box 8, and Phil Foden, who connects the lines to Harry Kane. Because Jude Bellingham, as good as he is, he's not going to connect much play between the midfield and Harry Kane. He's just not going to do that. Phil Foden's that guy. Jude Bellingham is the guy who should be arriving late into the penalty area. You know what I mean? Like he done for the goal, like Frank Lampard-esque, helping out Declan Rice filling in. And you put Phil Foden in the middle. We're sticking Phil Foden out wide, so he's not playing his best position. We're putting Trent Alexander-Arnold in the midfield, so you're not going to get the best out of him there. So two of our generational 3 players, you're not getting the best out of because he's forcing him into midfield. Just drop Walker. Yeah, although Walker played well, just drop him, play Trent, and just hope Trent don't get smoked on that right-hand side in a defensive capacity. And by the way, I'll just say one other thing here. People say, oh, well, you can't do that because it's not balanced enough. Well, first of all, did that midfield look balanced to you against Serbia? Because it didn't look balanced to me against Serbia. The whole team didn't look balanced, in my opinion. And people again say, oh, it's too attacking. Well, first of all, Jude Bellingham can be the guy who helps out Declan Rice and again drifts onto it late. And we don't win anything anyway. I say this all the time. This country doesn't win trophies. Yeah. Since we've had Southgate, we've got pretty close. We play the most boring football ever to where we all know people who don't watch England who are English because it's boring, right? They don't want to watch it because it's dead. Why don't we just play a little bit more attacking football? Play our generational players in their actual positions, be more balanced in terms of, I'll probably have Gordon on the left-hand side. That brings more balance on the left. And just go for it. And if we don't win anything, well, we don't win anything anyway, but at least we'll go for it and play our players in the best position. You know what I mean? We try to force players in. This is what happened with Scholes when he was put out on the left-hand side, and it was just like, you just forcing him in for forcing him in sake. In the end, Scholes had enough and went, nah, I'm not having it. Do you know what I mean? Just play the players in the proper position. That's it, man. Simple. You can't be dropping Foden. You can't be dropping Jude. You can't be dropping Trent. So just play them all.
I do agree with LB. The only thing I will say, I thought Foden was stinky, man. I thought he was so bad. I don't like Foden. I think he's class. Absolutely ridiculously good. But you've got to look at the individual performance there and think what the hell was going on. And, you know, when Southgate said, oh, it's his first 90 minutes in months and all that, and I was thinking, look, man, he's a world-class talent. Like, it was a poor game. Yeah, poor game from him. Having said that, my God, it was boring. Yet again, in the second half, the whole of that left-hand side needs to be ripped up and started again. You cannot play Trippier there. And then the idea that he gives us width. Well, he doesn't give us width because he cuts in on his right-hand side all the time because he hasn't got a left foot. So what's he talking about? That's our width. He's talking rubbish. The whole of our left-hand side was cack, absolutely horrendously bad. And I don't know whether the answer is to start someone different there, but certainly change it in the game. I didn't see Palmer or Gordon come on once. He's bringing on Kobe Minor and kind of Gallagher. What the hell is going on here, man? Like this, and this is where people say, but he's got us to the final. He's the most, what is the best manager we've had since Ramsey. It's all crap for me. The squad should be winning the tournament, or at least getting to finals in every single one and coming second place in all of it. The bare minimum you get to the final with what we've got going forward. We have got players in the front 6 or front 5 that have either won or up for Ballon d'Ors, Champions Leagues, and Premier League titles, or have been
Not
one
Kane,
of the players
not
or
Kane, not
signings of the
Kane.
season, other than Kane, or have been one of the players or signings of the season. You've got Kane, who scored over 30 goals, picking up golden boots. You've got Foden, who's winning leagues. You've got Ballon d'Ors nominations of Bellingham. You've got Saka, who's been phenomenal for the last 3 years and was brilliant again, by the way. But imagine if Saka put in that Foden performance. So what I'll say is that imagine the uproar. Look at this. Like, come on, man. Saka was brilliant, I thought. He's one of the only ones on that right-hand side, along with Walker and Bellingham, who I thought was threatening. The left-hand side was a joke. Absolute joke.
But that right-hand side had structure to it. So you hit the nail
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
head. Trippier was playing on the left-hand side. I like Trippier, but he was inverted into the midfield. So then where's Foden? Had no one on the left to pass to because there was no one there. It should have been Gordon. Should have been on that left-hand side. I don't understand why he's took Gordon if he's not going to play. Gordon for me is a perfect player for an international tournament because he works extremely hard off the ball and he's actually got a goal threat. Play him on the left-hand side instantly. That link up. Foden will have an option now on the left. He had no option on the left-hand side. Yeah. Now whether you play Trippier left back in that situation, I don't know. Personally, I'm still waiting for Shaw. What's going on with Shaw? Is he fit? What's going on with him?
No idea, mate. No idea.
The thing is, he's barely kicked the ball in 6 months. If you're bringing, the only reason you bring Shaw is if you're going to play him. There has to be a plan to bring him into the first 11. Otherwise, you'd leave him at home, surely. It doesn't make sense for Shaw to be here and to be back up to Trippier.
No.
That don't make sense for me.
That don't make sense.
I do agree.
Sorry, go on. The Trent thing is a really interesting one for me. And LB makes a great point about him being generational. I agree with him. I think he's world class. I think he's got everything about him as a footballer. He's absolute genius. I love the kid. I think he's phenomenal talent. When people say to me, you can't play him right back because he can't defend, I am disagreeing with that. And I'll tell you why I'm disagreeing with it. Because you put everything around him to allow to say, do you know what? Yes, this guy might get caught out. We need to do our job and actually protect him because it is worth it. It is worth having him not be able to defend at right back because he is so good there with everything else around him, as long as it's okay, that you have to take that risk with Trent. If you don't play centre at right back, Trent needs to go out of the team. I think it's a waste of him being in midfield. I don't get it. I don't like him there. I don't think it works there. I think he's comfortable in terms of on the ball, but I just don't think that he delivers what we need at the right-hand side. And I think, although the right wasn't a problem, I think the midfield was potentially a problem. Now, Rice, I thought was great. I thought Mark Gare, he was really good, if I'm honest, considering that was his first tournament debut international. But I think for me, Trent, you have to put him at right back. You have to put Bellingham in the 8, Rice in the 6, and you have to put Foden 10. And then you can either put Palmer there. If you don't think Palmer can play left, then put Gordon there. If you don't want to play Gordon there, then change something, put Saka there, put someone else on the right, wherever it be. But you cannot put Foden out on the left, in my opinion. Now, I stand by it. I thought he was poor, and I don't think I'm not putting it down to Southgate that Foden was poor for this game. Foden was just poor in this game because of himself, right? But he's not going to be like that every single game. But for me, you cannot play that system in the way that it was. It was unbalanced. It was boring. For 30 minutes as well, by the way, we did again what we do all the time. Typically, 1-0 up, that'll do us. Right, let's just chill now. There's no point creating anything else. We'll just do much more. Kane had a header. That was it. That was that was it. I think Walker went through in the first half and put it across it, but should have shot. And then Kane hit the bar with a header. That was it. And this is against.
I couldn't agree more with you, mate. I think it's on the day I was frustrated with Foden. Some of his touches, his play was awful. Same as I was frustrated with Kane. And you've got to credit the Serbians. They did a very good job. Everybody said it'd be a hard game, and they did make it hard for us. But the more you reflect, especially when you calm down and the aftermath, the setup's wrong. We are imbalanced. I agree with what you said earlier, Potsy, that, Gordon, why he didn't come on was crazy to me. shouldn't be leaving Kane on for the whole 90 minutes if he's not playing well. One, we made this mistake in the World Cup in 2018. We never rested Kane. And by the time we got to that, I know he should have squared it to Sterling, but he was dying on his arse by then. He looked exhausted. There was a great opportunity to give him 20 minutes rest and give another striker an opportunity that would have either done as well as him or better than him, or as poor as him or better than him. But for me, I'm not even adverse to Foden playing on that left-hand side. I think, but what he needs is a fullback that will genuinely give him the width. And the only one we've got that can do that is Luke Shaw. I also looked at it and thought, well, Bellingham's been playing as a kind of 10 for Real Madrid. He's got to play there. He's had a Ballon d'Or worthy season. However, he spent the majority of the game doing his actual role, which is an 8. He was everywhere, and he was phenomenal, Bellingham. But you could take who is it? Who else was in midfield? You had Rice and
Trent.
Rice, Bellingham, and Trent.
You could take Trent out and put Bellingham into that position, out of that role. I still think I agree. Trent's got to be on that right. We need his crossing ability into the box. Put Bellingham back into the 8, box to box, and move Phil Foden into the 10. I couldn't agree with you more. But it is on the manager more so. Yes, individual performances get criticised, but the substitutions could have changed that game. He could have even gone, right, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to put Trent into right back. I'm going to put Bellingham back into the 8, move Foden across and bring Gordon on. And then he could have given himself a look at that system in the game, and he didn't do it. We needed more control on the ball. So he brings on Conor Gallagher instead of Kobbie Mainoo. Now, Mainoo's going to has the ability, so does Adam Wharton, either of those two, hold and retain possession so much better than Conor Gallagher does. It just tells me that when tough decisions need to be made, there's something lacking with Gareth Southgate's. The greatest managers, the managers that succeed, their ability to get their substitutions right and make in-game tactical changes that benefit their side. Get it right, 8 times out of 10? 9 times out of 10? Southgate, it's a flip of a coin whether it's going to work or not in his decision making, and it's why we've got far in these tournaments because we've got a really good squad, and quite a few other nations are nowhere near the levels we're used to. Let's not pretend that the Germans and the Dutch as an example, you could put the Italians into that, even though they won the last Euros, they are not bolstering the same level of talent that their nation had 10 plus years ago. None of them are. Spaniards, none of them have teams of... So there's the element there of only really the French are sort of on par with what they've had in the last 30 odd years. England, to a degree, we are, other than probably centre-backs, you would probably argue. So we've got an advantage in that regard, but we just have a manager who isn't good enough when it comes to the decision-making, and that ultimately that's going to cost us. So I understand the criticism of Foden, but what I feel has happened in the last few days as well, I'm an England fan, so I'm talking about everything from an England perspective. There's too many people getting involved with their club colours on. And you see it yesterday. I saw people going in on Saliba, and I was like, he didn't have a bad game. I'm not saying he was Maldini, but people were acting like he was really shaky and all these problems. And then you're looking at who's writing it, and you're like, well, you're a Spurs fan or a City fan. And
Saliba wasn't great though yesterday, bro.
He wasn't. Yeah, I thought he was pretty good, to be fair, but he hadn't much to do. But the thing is, it's almost people are getting their club allegiances.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Tarnish what they're actually seeing at this. So Foden wasn't good, should be criticised. But people are acting like that's it, shouldn't kick another ball. I've seen there was a gooner on the show yesterday. Kane's got to be dropped after that bad performance. Shut up. He's our greatest ever goal scorer. He's our captain. Yes, he wasn't good, but drop him for the rest of the tournament? Like you have to create continuity as well. Like the overreaction from people is crazy, in my opinion.